Hey, how the devil are you? So, we all know the cost of electricity and gas is going up. Well, it's going through the roof actually. So I'm always looking for ways to save money on electricity and gas. You know, I'm that typical father who's always checking on the thermostat. Oi, turn that thermostat down. Always turning off the lights. You know, your kids come into the room, leave all the lights on and walk off. Right? So I'm thinking of ways, you know, that I can get around these things. So I thought I'd invest in a motion sensor light bulb. I thought I'll buy a couple of these just to see what they're like. And do you know what? They do kind of look like...
Melons! Big, juicy melons!
Are they nice and firm?
Or what do you think?
Look at that! It looks like a set of giants.
Hey, and then you're late. How we doing? We're back! Yeah! Go Titans! Yeah!
So I thought I'd give them a go and see what they're like, to see if they're any good. Because obviously a motion sensor bulb, there's no DIY involved. You haven't got to put any motion sensors in there anyway. You just literally plug the bulb in and you're away. And it's pretty simple to do. It says the bulb will, you put it in, the bulb will flash once or twice once inserted. After 2 minutes, the PIR, which I think is passive infrared, will then perform as expected. The PIR may activate occasionally from high heat sources, such as radiators or from external moving trees. Well, there's no trees in here, so I'm going to be all right with that. So let's plug it in and see how it performs. Okay, obviously I've turned the power off. I don't want electric shock or anything, right? Oh, I don't want it to blind me when I put it in. Okay, so I'm just going to take the old bulb out, pop it in, and then switch it on and see how it goes. Okay, let's turn it on. Okay, it's going off like it said. It said twice, but it's only doing it once. Oh, that's not a bad thing. Now it should come back on in a sec, and then it work as normal. Yes. So, I mean, it's working okay at the moment. I'm going to do some little tests on it, see how long it stays on for, see how close I can get to it. One thing I will say is what it says is that this has to be showing this little bit here, because obviously that's the sensor. And if it's covered in glass or anything, it probably won't work. Luckily, it's proud of this lampshade, so it should still work okay, because it's still got the range around it to be able to sense if someone's near it. So it's in. I've been doing a few tests on it, not extensive, but when it clicks on, it'll last about 30 seconds before it goes off, unless it's triggered again. So 30 seconds, not a huge amount of time, but enough time for you to come in, get where you want and go. But there are some downsides to it. Now you've got to get pretty close to it for it to trigger. So I found I had to be almost next to it before it actually went off. So I thought, what if maybe it's the lampshade. So what if I take the lampshade off? Perhaps the lampshade is blocking the sensor a little bit. And I took the lampshade off and it was exactly the same result. I had to be really close to it. Another drawback is that you have to have quite a broad movement constantly. You know, you have to have quite large movements to keep it triggered. Because what I found when I was sat at the table doing something or whatever, or if my daughter was colouring, I'd be just working away and boop, the light goes off and I got to wave my hands around then, you know, to get it back on again. Comes back on and you work away just doing some things, looking at something online, and boop, it goes off again. You're like, oh, son of a, why are you? So it's not really practical for a main room. What I think it's made for is probably something like a cupboard, where you just open the door, you walk in, bam, and it comes on, get what you want, and in 30 seconds the light goes out. You haven't got to turn it on and off. Maybe an attic, possibly a basement cellar, something like that, where you've only got to be in briefly to get something and come out. That's what it's for. It's not really for a main room. Perhaps there are bulbs out there which last longer than 30 seconds. Maybe you can get some that would last maybe a minute or two before it goes off, maybe even longer. And perhaps you can get some with a more sensitive sensor, if that makes sense. But the problem is that if it's too sensitive, you'd have little flies coming around and setting it off. So it can't, so I suppose that's a drawback of it. So like I said, better for a cupboard, an attic, things of that ilk. Anyway, if you liked the video, give it a like, subscribe, okay? Super thanks today if you want to help out the channel. Really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.